Ready? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Monday, July 18th, 2016.
Commissioner Davis, James, and Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Chris Smith, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Fabian Cheng, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Craig Shaw, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Henry, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Michael Patnay, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment. We do not have any commentary under the neighborhood councils, nor did we receive any speaker cards under the regular items for today's agenda.
Okay, then we'll go ahead and close general public comment as well as the neighborhood council category of commenting. Our first item of business, the approval of the meeting minutes from the meeting of Wednesday, June 22nd, 2016. Is there a second to my motion to approve those meeting minutes by Commissioners Jacinto and Davis? So without objection, that will be the order. A couple of housekeeping items. Let's take care of a couple of administrative items first. Agenda item number 7, Ahern Rentals Incorporated has transmitted a stop notice in the amount of $7,810.92 against J&D Thomas Company Incorporated in connection with the Machado Lake Ecosystem Rehabilitation Project. The contractors OHL USA Incorporated. Is there a second to my motion that we receive number 7 forthwith? By Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Agenda item number 6, Adele and Sevaton, attorneys for the Southern District Council of Laborers, has transmitted the release of a stop notice in the amount of $7,550.41 against Century Specialties doing business as Century Fences, an apparent subcontractor, in connection with the Los Angeles Zoo and Botanical Gardens Rainforest of the Americas project, contractor Metro Builders and Engineers Group Limited. This is as amended. Is there a second to my motion that we receive agenda item number 6 as amended forthwith? By Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, agenda item number 6 will be received as amended. Agenda item number 5, the Office of Accounting and the Bureau of Street Services. Actually, that's not an administrative item or a housekeeping item. Agenda item number 3, it's been requested by the protester that the item be continued to this Friday, July 22nd, 2016. The council office has concurred with the continuance of the item to Friday, July 22nd, 2016. Any objection? So we'll continue agenda item number 3 to July 22nd, 2016. Before we begin, we do have, actually there's one item that I would like to get through that we have that have just been sent back for signatures. Agenda item number 4. The Mayor and City Council have approved and authorized the Board to award and execute 2 personal services contracts. These were before the Board in May. CR&R Incorporated for processing and marketing of residential recyclable materials from the East Valley Waste Shed. And number 2, CR&R Incorporated for processing and marketing of residential recyclable materials from the Harbor Waste Shed. Is there a second to my motion that we adopt agenda item number 4 forthwith? By Commissioner Repenning and Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Let's go to our very special presentation this morning. We have a presentation of recognition for 26 years of service to Russ Strazella, and unfortunately it is 26 years of recognition of service and retirement. So yet again another violation of our attempt to place a moratorium for senior management. I've limited it to senior management and retirement. Mr. Reamer.
Morning, President James, Commissioners, Public Works family. I agree with your words, John Reamer, the Inspector of Public Works, the Director of the Bureau of Contract Administration. We celebrate 26 years, but we unfortunately are going to be saying so long to a family member who has served well. So if it please the Board, I'd like to ask your indulgence to take some time to just share with you what I can about Russ. It was back in 2000. We had started as a city family a pretty monumental project, the East Central Interceptor Sewer. And for a long time, mining or tunneling in the city of Los Angeles had not taken place. It had been seen as something that was just too dangerous to do, especially in light of methane concerns, given what took place in the Fairfax area some years earlier. The role of an inspector is to make sure that the work that is done conforms to the plans and specifications. That's not always easy to do, because there are outside interests that want to make sure that the project is done as quickly as possible so as to facilitate a number of things. Certainly our contractors making a profit and minimizing inconvenience, and we can go on and on and on. We started on the project, and at the time, my role was a division manager with the wastewater division in our bureau. Chris Smith was overseeing the work, and we had a particular tunnel heading that we were coming out of over near USC, and we made the decision, the Bureau of Contract Administration, to stop the work. The decision was made because we noted with our inspector in the tunnel that there was an excessive amount of muck, if you will, the dirt that was coming out of the heading, more than should have been, suggesting that we quite possibly had what would have been the makings of a huge void above us. That did not go over too kindly, especially for one particular individual who, it doesn't matter who it was, but there was a conversation that took place right outside these chambers where the person confronted me wanting to know what gave us the right to shut down the work. At that time, a gentleman by the name of Harry Rush-Drazella stepped in between me and this individual and communicated quite eloquently, and for those of you who know Rush, you can imagine how he did this, our role and the importance of making sure that we protect and we ensure not just the intent of this board that authorized that work, but the safety of those that are in the area. I like to refer to Russ as my fullback, that individual who runs interference, who makes sure that the path is clear for the work to be done. And I totally get the fact that for many, his presence may be a little harsh. It can be a little tough. I do understand that. But it does not in any way replace and should not overshadow the passion that Harry Rush-Drazella has given to this city, this department, our bureau. Russ began his city career as a construction inspector with the Department of Public Works Bureau of Contract Administration on February 11, 1990. In June 1994, he promoted to senior inspector. In 2000, he promoted to principal inspector. In 2005, it was my pleasure, as then the IPW, Inspector of Public Works, to promote Russ to Chief Construction Inspector. In that role, he served as the division manager over our General Services Division, and now he serves over the Special Projects Division. During his career, Russ was a certified deputy inspector for concrete construction and structural steel welding. He worked on a number of projects utilizing the knowledge that he had acquired over his many years in private construction. Russ was not just an inspector, but Russ was, as he won't say it, but I'll say it for you, say it for him, a master, journeyman pipe fitter. Russ acquired all of this skill and he brought it to the city, and he worked on several projects, be it street lighting, bridge widening, storm drain, you name it, Russ had a hand in it. During the past 15 years, Russ was a vital participant in the department's implementation project and policies that impacted public works. He played a key role in the implementation of the city's contract responsibility ordinance. He wrote the rules and regs governing it. A key role in the city's contractor performance evaluation ordinance, where he accompanied city council members to Sacramento on behalf of the city to make sure that the appropriate language was in place to ensure that government agencies were protected and had a mechanism in place to deal with contractors that just did not want to do things the right way. Russ has been a member of the City of LA Emergency Operations Organization since 1998. And Russ bleeds emergency operations. He really does. As a matter of fact, he bleeds it to a fault, one might argue. Russ talks to us all the time about making sure that we have our protocols in place and we have all our people where they need to be. He is very passionate about it. I'm not mad at him for it. He served as vice president, many don't know this, of the Minority Business Opportunity Committee with the Mayor's Office of Economic Development during 2004 through 2006. Vice Chair of the Public Works Task Force for Employee Achievement and Morale from 2004 to 2005. Instrumental in the development of the peak hour ordinance that has been invaluable in working with utilities. And Russ established a fantastic rapport with the many utilities that we do business with, that we partner with. They know him by name, and many of them have come by and shared and expressed their appreciation for the work that he did, celebrating the fact that he's retiring, and at the same time as we do, a little grieving over the fact that he won't be here. But with that said, everything must come to an end. And so after 26 years, Russ and his wife, Teresa, and I thank Teresa in case I forget, for allowing us to have him for these 26 years. They're going to be riding off into, it won't be the sunset because the sun sets in the west, but they're going to Georgia. And they're going to spend time with their son and their grandchildren. And I've come to find out that grandchildren have more power and leverage than anything I can know. And that's where Russ is going to go. It has been an honor as Inspector of Public Works to serve with Harry Rush-Drozella. It has been. A friend, someone who loves this city, a colleague, someone who has been very committed. Passion is the word that I will overuse because it is warranted in this case. Russ brings to the table something that we've all benefited from. Gary Moore came by the other day as we had an open house, and his words spoke loudly and clearly. He said, "You know what, Russ? I never worried when you came because I always understood you wanted the best for every single bureau in this department." It was not Russ just defending the Bureau of Contract Administration. Russ defended the bureau, the department, the city of Los Angeles because of his passion and his desire to make sure that the constituents in this city received what they deserve. So Russ, I know there are others that want to speak, but for the moment, if you would please join me.
I've got one speaker card on the item too, Mr. Reamer.
Okay. Real quickly, I just want to acknowledge, in recognition of 26 years of employment with the City of Los Angeles, this Board of Public Works honors you, Harry Rush-Drozella, Chief Construction Inspector, upon the occasion of your, it's hard to say the word, man, retirement, as a mark of appreciation. And man, we do appreciate you for loyal, and you have been loyal, and efficient service. Efficiency, yeah, that is your name. To the people of this city, it's signed by the commissioners, dated today. Commissioner James will speak to it. He said, yeah, I guess I did sign it. He didn't want to, and I didn't want him to sign it either, but he had to sign it. But Russ, we present this to you. You are worthy of it. We can't say enough, but we can say thank you for what you have done, what you've shared, what you've left. Commissioner James can appreciate this. One of my favorite movies, Remember the Titans. Toward the end of the movie, as they were preparing for the state championship, one of their star players, Gary Pertier, was in a car accident. Unfortunately, that's not the case with Russ. And the question was asked, what will you do now? And the coach responded, you cannot replace a Gary Bertier. We cannot replace a Harry Rush-Drozella. Cannot do it. Cannot. Behind me, there are many members of the Bureau of Contract Administration, and we're going to try. But we all appreciate and respect the fact that we cannot replace him. But we certainly appreciate him and thank him for all that he's given us, and we're going to give it every effort that we can. Russ, congratulations.
Thank you, John.
And we're going to have some people come talk.
So eloquent, as always. Chris Westhoff, a retired city attorney who worked in this around this horseshoe for a number of years with Russ. Go ahead, sir.
It was only 27. Mr. President, Commissioners, it's always a pleasure to be back in this building and especially this room where I spent the majority of my career. It's awfully hard following one of the most eloquent speakers that this department, probably the city, has ever had. But I couldn't let this day go by without coming back here and saying a few words about a very special individual. And for my money, the whole Bureau of Contract Administration are the unsung heroes of this department. They do most of their work outside the spotlight. They are there to be the board's watchdogs, the city's watchdogs, the citizens' watchdogs to ensure that things get done the right way. And because of that, I enjoyed, I think, a very special relationship with all of the people in the Bureau. But I can tell you that Russ and I were joined at the hip so many times I can't even count. He is a very special individual, as John has pointed out. His integrity, his work ethic were beyond question. And when John mentions passion, people used to say I was pretty passionate about my job as Public Works General Counsel. Russ matched me passion for passion. I knew when he called it was important. I knew when he called that it was something that I was going to want to have to deal with. If we couldn't reach each other during business hours, I had his cell phone number, he had my cell phone number, he had my home number. We never, ever disagreed, I think, on anything, and all the time that we worked together on his issues. The hole that this leaves for the Bureau of Contract Administration is immense. I mean, there are just certain people that are almost irreplaceable, and Russ sits in that area because he brings such a passion to what he does, and his intensity for wanting to do it the right way and making sure that everybody does it the right way made him a very, very special individual for me to work with. And as jet lagged as I am, we just got back from Europe a couple of days ago. I was not going to miss being able to say goodbye, and I want to thank Ted for letting me know that you were holding this ceremony here today. So Russ, on behalf of myself and the entire City Attorney's Office, thank you for being the person that you are and for giving your entire career to this city and to the citizens. And they'll just never know how much you meant to making sure that things got done the right way. And I am just honored to call you my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Westhoff. I would mention that the City Council, recognizing the void that would be left with the retirement of Russ, the City Council did have a presentation for Russ themselves that was led by Councilman Buscaino, who is the chairman of the Public Works Committee, appropriately so. And I know that Mr. Gleason from Councilman Buscaino's office is here this morning. So, Dennis, thank you to your office and to the councilman for recognizing Russ before the City Council. I broke protocol maybe a little bit on Friday without all of you here from the Bureau of Contract Administration by the fact that Russ was sitting in his last time in his official representation of the Bureau of Contract Administration. So I decided to mention that fact. And of course, at that point, I opened up the floor for my colleagues to share their thoughts about Russ. But Russ, can you come up for just a moment? Because I do want to give you a chance to say anything that you would like to say as the Bureau of Contract Administration representatives are here. But before you do, I'm going to open or at least put it back on the table again, since folks were not here on Friday. And I do want to mention, and really just thank you. We came on board entirely as a new commission with the starting of the Garcetti administration. And you were one of the people that stepped in early to provide your expertise and your assistance to us, and quickly developed into someone, as you know, that I relied on for things that I needed related to the Bureau of Contract Administration, and maybe even beyond the Bureau of Contract Administration into other bureaus or even other departments. So I really appreciate your sharing your expertise, your willingness to get in the boat with us, and it was just, I think, a wonderful working relationship. At least it certainly was from where I sat. So best wishes to you and your wife as you travel to the East Coast. I would recommend that, I may some risk in recommending this, but I wouldn't leave your California plate on your car too long. Traveling east, only because sometimes when that happens, people get, maybe I'm wrong about that, but I remember when I did that, you get some frustrating looks from folks if they think that we're infiltrating and bringing our real estate prices to their states. But maybe that won't be the case. And if it is the case, they certainly won't know until they meet you what a wonderful asset you're bringing to their community. So whichever community is in Georgia, I think it might be Savannah. They'll soon find out they're getting great community members in you and your family. So thank you for your wonderful service to the city of Los Angeles, sir. Commissioner Penning?
Sure. I just keep thinking about the number 26 because it's so close to 30, and you know you've only been here 26 years, and I feel like he's the only one that's laughing. Anyway, all right, fine. You can go. You can retire. We'll miss you, and I just think it's great that we have people that we work with for whom this isn't just a job, but it's really a passion. And so we want to just thank you for your years of service in keeping us safe and making sure that our money is being well spent, and in doing your job with I think you've very much raised the bar for a lot of folks. So thank you again.
Thank you, Commissioner Penning. Commissioner Cinto?
Thank you, President James. Russ, just having you here on Friday, we kind of spilt the beans a little bit, but it's okay to take it back because this deserves a hanaho or a do it again. Just a couple of thoughts. Director Reamer, you're always good, but today you were in your zone because I think of the sincerity and the authenticity of your experience. And so I appreciate you setting the tone for this celebration, for this transition. Your colleagues, and to have the BCA Ohana family here is another testimony to you, sir. So I believe that is sincere. So I really appreciate seeing everybody, the seats filled in this church of Russ today. The third is, I'm affected by this. Not only as a commissioner, but seeing you go, but also witnessing and being here just a very short time, but having intense interaction with you, and how your career in the sum of 26 or 27 years can be distilled into impact, and how that impacts us. So Russ, you need to know that your career here at the city has affected me, and I want to be a better steward. I want to be a better running back, a better bulldog, if you will, because of you and our interaction. So I thank you, sir, and I wish you and Teresa the best as you travel and continue to live your great lives, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Sindo. Commissioner Davis.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And, I did give comments on Friday, but after having heard the two speakers here, I have even more remarks for Russ. I, on Friday, called him the Dean of the Bureau of Contract Administration. And let me tell you, he has lived up to every title that I have trusted in him as the Dean of the Bureau. I always say that the role of contract administration is to inspect what we expect of our construction standards and our prime contractors and those who work for us. And I always say that contract administration is the heart and the soul of the work that we do in public works. Well, Russ, I am convinced and I am confident that you are the heart and soul of contract administration. And as a public administrator, I can't tell you how proud I am of the work that you have done. It is the result of years of experience in various roles, all that have been significant in terms of not only your commitment and your dedication, but in terms of your integrity. You know, anybody can maybe get lucky and go to Harvard or Yale, but one thing you can't buy from any university is integrity. And for that, I tell you, you are a shining example of what it means to be an outstanding public servant. And I am proud of the work that you have done. You are not just a person who is distinguished. You are a person who has distinguished yourself. And as a result, you have distinguished our department and also the Bureau as a result of the work that you have done. And I will conclude to say that I am so proud to see those people from the Bureau who have come out. And there are many people who have come out in support. I will conclude by saying an old saying that seniors used to say years ago, and that was simply, may the work I have done speak for me. And you reflect the fact that the work you have done speaks for you. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Mr. Stazella.
Thank you, Mr. President, Commissioners, executives, General Counsel, and Executive Officer. It's been I've stood up here many times, as my dear friend Chris Westhoff has said, and a lot of times it was for reports. Sometimes it was to argue subcontractor issues. There were many times I've had the privilege of being sent by my director to speak to this distinguished commission about things over the years. I must tell you that in all those times, even though sometimes the room was full of tension, depending on what we were dealing with, I've never worked as hard as I have today in this chamber. I'm not good at accepting compliments, and I'm worse at saying goodbye. But I want to thank all of you for your very kind words, and especially my brother, John Reamer, and my dear friend and mentor, Chris Westhoff. He was the board's sitting general counsel when I was asked to clean off my work boots and put a suit on and come in the office and try to spell cat a few times. And I have gotten an extra college education merely from my years with him advising me and teaching me. And it is something that I'll never forget and is priceless and irreplaceable, as is my relationship with all of you and your predecessors. John was overly kind because, I can't remember half the things he said I did, to tell you the truth. He's got a pretty long list. But really, I'm not the only one who did this. These people standing and sitting behind me did all that stuff. So y'all should give yourself a big hand. Really, stand up. This is your commission, please. Come on. If I should get any credit at all, it's because I think I probably had the biggest Rolodex in the city. I learned very early in my career that there are hundreds and maybe thousands of people in this city that work for their community as civil servants. And if you have a community member or somebody who has a problem, doesn't know how to get through it, you find somebody and you call them up. And I've never had anybody ever in this whole city, when I've called them up and say, I know this person, they have this problem, can you help me out? That said anything to me other than, I've got this. They took it up. And it's reciprocal. And so I've made so many friends, countless friends, that I don't dare try to name them all. First of all, we'd be here till 6 o'clock. And second of all, if I even left one out, then it would be remiss. My good friend Donovan Green is here. I'd like to just mention him. One of the utility people that John mentioned about. We've had a great relationship with the folks at AT&T as well as all the other utilities, and Donovan has been a good friend over the years, and we got a lot of stuff done. I didn't bring a speech, so that's risky because I don't want to ramble. But I just must tell you that this is, I could not have picked a more satisfying or rewarding career or any better way to spend my life as a professional than to be here and serve this city. We have 4 million neighbors, and I was raised to take care of my neighbors, and I found a place and a way to do it. And that is due to the good graces of this commission and also my dear friend John Reamer, who hired me and told me one day, he shook my hand, he says, okay, you got the job, clean off the rough edges, and I never did succeed at doing that, but I tried. It has been, it's been unforgettable. I'll never forget any of you or this experience. And one last thing, the first thing I saw when I came here for a job interview is I ran up the Spring Street stairs one day in 1990, and I saw over the door out there words cut in stone. They say, righteousness exalteth a people. And in this chamber, you are the people who keep those words above that door. And so thank you from the bottom of my heart. I think that should probably be it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Russ. So we will take just a brief recess from the agenda for some quick photographs, and then we'll be right back on our agenda. Mr. Reamer and folks. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you to all the representatives from the Bureau of Contract Administration that came by for Russ's celebration this morning. Agenda item number 1 in Council District 5, above-ground facility variance for 3511 South Kelton Avenue. Recommending first that the board approve the request for a variance from the height limitation requirements of the above-ground facilities ordinance per the Los Angeles Municipal Code Section 62.08 VB. That's V as in Victor, B as in Barry. And 2, authorize Mobility LLC to install a 33-foot, 3-inch high wood monopole in the public right-of-way adjacent to 3511 South Kelton Avenue. Mr. Ledoux on agenda item number 1.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Ledoux. I work with Bureau of Engineering Central District, AGF U-Permit section. This is a mobilitide application for, like I said, a 33-foot, 3-inch wood pole with a small antenna on top of it. This is adjacent to an apartment building. It is a residential zone. It's in CD5, Paul Koretz. They have chosen to remain neutral on this application at this point in time. I did not receive any phone calls, any emails on this, and there were no appeals.
Any questions on agenda item number 1? Commissioner Cinto, anything on number 1?
President James, no one here is here from Mobility?
Yes, Mobility is here. Shannon Nichols, who is the point person, is here, and also someone else, one of her coworkers from Mobility is here.
Great. I just wanted to note that there's the CD office, council district office has chosen not to comment.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay. Then I don't have any questions. Commissioner Cinto's made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 1. I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 1 forthwith. Mr. Ledoux, I think you're here on number 2 as well. This is in Council District 3. Same applicant. Above ground facility variance 8925 North DeSoto Avenue. Recommending that the board approve the request for a variance from the height limitation requirements of the AGF ordinance pursuant to Los Angeles Municipal Code section 62.08 VB and authorize, and I don't know if it's mobility or mobility.
Mobility.
Mobility. What is it? Mobility. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Nichols. To install 41-foot, 11-inch high wood monopole in the public right-of-way adjacent to 8925 North DeSoto Avenue. Mr. Ledoux on number 2.
This one is in a light manufacturing commercial zone. It is well away from any residential or apartment buildings. It is in CD3, which is Bob Blumenfeld's district. They are remaining neutral on this application at this time. I received no phone calls, emails, or appeals on this particular AGF application.
Any questions on number 2? Commissioner Jacinto.
President James and colleagues, just want to note that I appreciate Mobility's willingness to work with our city. They're providing a build-out of a high-speed infrastructure that is important to the progress of our city. And there is significant impact to the build-out. And it is, of course, working within the ordinance. I want to thank Ted Jordan for helping us understand the implications in our Bureau of Engineering staff. And again, that it is a partnership between industry and our civic duties in order to create an impact to the physical or the infrastructure that is appropriate and advancing our city. So I just wanted to sort of set the stage because we're going to have more of these, much more in the future. So thank you to Mobility.
I would also just add, Commissioner Jacinto, that the models of the poles, if you will, are passing through, the various models of the poles are passing through the Cultural Affairs, Department of Cultural Affairs and the Cultural Affairs Commission as well, I believe. Is that correct, Mr. Ledoux?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Anything further on number 2? By Commissioner Cinto's made a motion that we adopt number 2. I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. Any issues sending number 2 forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 5. Office of Accounting and the Bureau of Street Services are requesting board approval on execution of authority for expenditure in the amount of $3 million for additional funds in connection with the as-needed trucking program for fiscal year 2016-2017. Mario and Triano? So is this our quarterly infusion, Mario?
Yes, good morning. Yes, exactly. This request is to fund us for the first 3 months of this fiscal year. The $3 million should allow us to cover payroll for that period of time.
Okay. And the budget for the entire year is?
The budget is just, I believe it's just above 15 million, I want to say.
Okay. Which is consistent with prior years, correct?
Yes, correct. I mean, typically we will be encumbering about 10 million of that amount.
Okay. Yeah. And that's for the movement of asphalt regarding street resurfacing.
That's correct.
Any questions regarding agenda item number 5? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 5, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 5. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 5 forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, then we are adjourned, everyone. Thank you.